Hey, welcome in everybody to Launchpad Reseller podcast. I am your host, Bob, the Rocket City Reseller, and I want to just welcome you guys to the channel. If you're new here, we appreciate your viewership. We have a very special guest for you today. It is her birthday. Happy birthday to
Happy
Cosmic Deal,
birthday.
Heather.
Happy
Welcome to the
birthday.
podcast, Heather. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm good.
Good, awesome. Well, I know that it's a special day for you, and I know that your following is here, likely watching or will be watching soon. Is there a special message you'd like to just before we get into the details that you would try to call out to your following?
Specifically to my following, that you guys are literally the best. I've always said that I don't necessarily have the biggest following in reselling, but I do think I have one of the best followings in reselling because everybody, for the most part, is so nice.
That's
Love that.
fantastic. That's good
Awesome.
to hear. We were talking off camera earlier about how community support is important, being a part of the reselling community, and all the things. And we're going to go ahead and get into your story before I ask you the bazillion questions that I have. I'm sure the other co-hosts here, Ellie and Ashley, would love to ask a few too. So let's start with how you came to reselling, maybe a little bit before that, what led you to reselling, possibly, and
Right.
we'll start there if that's okay.
No, that's fine. I have gone over this a few times, like on my YouTube stuff and in the past, but basically what got me into reselling was the man who would become my husband because he was in college and I was a senior in high school when we started dating because we used to work at Chuck E. Cheese together. And
Awesome.
he was an avid thrifter and reseller on eBay out of like complete necessity, like broke college kid kind of stuff. And so a lot of our early dates was just me tagging along, going to the thrift store with him. And since I wasn't 18 at the time, I was just thrifting for like fun stuff and watching him pick up stuff to sell on eBay. And so when I turned 18, I wanted to try it for myself. And then basically the rest is history. From that point on, I have been selling on eBay in some capacity.
That's
Wow.
That's
fantastic.
awesome.
That
So
is
does
awesome.
does he still resell too? Does he do
He
this?
does.
Yeah, he's always had a full-time job up until recently because he lost his job. But he's always kept something going in the background. Like when I started to do Amazon, he also decided he wanted to try Amazon and he did like wholesale toys kind of stuff because then it's less like thrifting and trying to find stuff. It's easier for somebody that's got a full-time job. But he also just loves thrifting. So it's fun to be a thrifting couple, like having two people that actually like to go out to the thrift stores together with each other and resell stuff. So like he'll never entirely give that up no matter what full-time job he has.
I love that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's what we call passion and purpose. I
Mhm.
feel like sometimes we're drawn to those types of things. I feel like um, it's funny that oftentimes people ask what the meaning of life or the secret is, and I think it's purpose. So having that purpose can drive you. So you talked a little bit about Amazon. What year was it that you started eBay?
I started eBay. I sold my first item in 2006, like right after I turned 18. But Amazon, I think I signed up in 2019 and I sold like the beginning of 2020.
So that was a pretty interesting year, I think, for resellers in general with COVID and the impacts of that. Um, what was that? Can you walk us through kind of what a day to day or day in the life of was back then for
For
that time
sure.
period?
Yeah, because Amazon, like as much as I don't want to credit COVID with doing anything positive, because that's not the point of it, but
Sure.
as you said, it really did change the reselling landscape during that period of time, especially with being an Amazon retail arbitrage seller. Like there was stuff that you could not keep in stock. Like you could just go to the store, buy it, and flip it on Amazon because people were just shopping online so much more than they are now, or they
Right.
were previously. So it's like I started right at the time that you were just poised to take off no matter what you did. So I don't know if I would have had as a successful start to my Amazon without the situations going on around it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
very true. Yeah.
So, you're still selling on Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, I had something that I dubbed brand apocalypse happen last year. What that happened was with Amazon, you have to be ungated to sell specific brands. Like it's not like eBay where you can list whatever you want. So
Yeah.
I took my time getting my ungates, getting my business going, and then they sort of slammed the book on that, being like, oh, you know, you only used to have to buy 10 items to get ungated for something for wholesale. Now it's like you have to buy 400 of something, and there's no guarantee that you're even going to be able to use that invoice to ungate it, because I tried to and they were like, no. So they kicked everyone off of a lot of brands. They're making it harder to get back into those brands. So that part kind of sucks. But there are still brands open to me that I sell in, and if I find something good in that, I'm going to go around to all the locations of a store I can to get that product that I can actually sell, and the velocity is crazy and really good selling it.
Wow. Wow.
That's a tough situation. I'm not a big fan of Amazon personally for a variety of reasons, but I understand the need to sell there because of the sheer volume and customer base. Sometimes we have to do what we don't like or deal with what we don't like in order to kind of move the needle for our family and our situation.
Sorry. One sec. My kid is banging on my door. I don't know where my husband is.
Invite them in. We'd love to meet him. We're all parents. I get it.
I've had my kid knocking on the door, so I get it.
I knew it would only be a matter of minutes before he's asking me for something. I said, "Where's your daddy? He's supposed to be watching you right now."
Yeah, where's Dad? Exactly.
I get it.
Come on, Dad. So Dad's probably listing on eBay. I know the feeling.
He might very well be.
They might just be, yeah. It's important, and I know there's a lot of things that you mentioned. You know, I don't want to get too deep into the Amazon thing because I know there's a lot of feelings there, but I also want people to understand what they're doing, because I don't think it's fair for the average seller on there that's not, you know, obviously Amazon. The brand apocalypse, I think, is what you dubbed it, and it sounds like a really great name for it. I have a feeling that part of that might have been that they're trying to box out the smaller resellers to take over the market in that area, because it seems like that tends to be the trend. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tommy Buffalo Picker. He is ungated Amazon in the toy category, and he kind of briefly glanced on it. I don't think he wanted to really put out the facts of the matter, but I think that's a little bit about what's going on. And I'd love to hear from in the comments if anybody is an Amazon seller and their thoughts on this. So if you want to go ahead and ask those questions, I'm sure we're going to get to questions in a little bit, but yeah, those are just some initial thoughts that I had personally. What are your thoughts, Ashley, about Amazon? Do you think that's what's true?
Well, my history is I worked retail, so I worked Walmart. So Amazon was the mighty giant. And so a lot of the programs and stuff that we had in place was competing with that. And yes, Walmart does the third party too that I think Heather sells on as well, or has in the past. But it's everybody like I said, it goes back to it's a big corporation. They have deals with the brands, and then you got brands in there that like, hold on, why are you making money? I could be making money, that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't think it needs to be kept, I guess you could say, but to open it up. But I think that's part of the reason I think you brought it up too in one of your videos is it's just, they're trying to hold it.
It's a tough situation. Ellie, thoughts?
Oh man, I'm alien to Amazon. I thought about starting on there pre-COVID. I never did because I was intimidated. It's intimidating. Everybody says to start with books. Did you start with books?
Heather?
Me, no. I didn't. I actually don't think I've sold a single book on Amazon.
Okay, because I'm like,
I think books. The first things I sold was like cleaning products.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I never went that route. So that's crazy though. I didn't know about the brand apocalypse. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. And I think everyone's assessment is correct. They are trying to box the smaller sellers off of there. They realize there's no reason to do business with somebody like me when they can just have it direct with Amazon, the brands themselves. Like they don't want the middlemen and the small guys.
What I think we're starting to see some of those cracks in the floor in regards to Whatnot too, because we're starting to see some of the brands like Nike and Puma and even Goodwill outlets going straight to live reselling and cutting out a lot of the resellers in that regard. So I'm wondering if I know that right now, if you list something that's Puma on eBay, I want to say you get a Vero if you're not careful. I know that there's certain countries you can't sell Levi to. There's a few just like random things in reselling that are just like no-nos. So they're trying to box out. But I want to say there was a law that was passed that says once you own an item, you have the right to sell it. And I forget what it was called. But
For sale doctrine.
yeah, for sale doctrine. Yeah, that's exactly it, Heather. So I find that always interesting when that subject comes up, because as resellers, I think it's our right to be able to also play in that sandbox. So I'm a strong proponent of that for sure, and how that impacts all of us.
The thing that I've personally experienced with brands trying to get around that first sale doctrine is they use the excuse that when the item is brand new, like, oh, we offer a 12-month warranty on the product or this and that. And they say that as the reseller, you can't provide that. So you're not legally allowed to call it brand new. And that's how they get around that.
True.
Or they say that you're not storing it in a climate controlled warehouse or something. So they say, oh, you can't call it new because you didn't go through our procedures for handling the product. And it's just a whole bunch of other little like BS that they're trying to use.
Right.
They try to use the actual, that's lawyering at its best. I have to do a little bit of that in my 9-to-5, so I'm familiar with that. So that's icky business practice. I think we all can agree on that. There was a question in chat we're going to just highlight real quick because it's kind of leans to my next question. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Florida native states, Florida native 59 states, what other platforms do you cross-list on at this time? That's for you, Heather.
So the only thing that I'm cross-listing on right now is Bonanza because it does it automatically. I've tried cross-listing to Mercari, and it's like the stuff just sits there for the most part. I have been making like a conscious effort to post used beauty to Mercari because you can't do it on eBay anymore. But like that's it. I don't really cross-list much.
Okay.
Well, there you go. So that opens up the question to one of the usually the follow-up questions that we have because we're all Whatnot sellers. Have you ever considered that Whatnot as an avenue or live reselling in general? Have you ever thought about that? Because you have quite the following. You could probably do quite well.
So I've run a few Whatnot shows, and I can't say that they went well. I think I didn't sell anything at one or two of them, and like nobody sticks around. But I also understand what my issue is with Whatnot. The only thing that I have a consistent supply of that I think would work well for Whatnot is like Barbie dolls, like used Barbie dolls. And because I buy dolls in large quantities for like one doll in one doll bag, and there's like 10 other dolls in there that I don't want. The problem is a lot of those like nude 2000s kind of Barbies, like they're only worth maybe $1 or $2. And so even if I'm doing a Whatnot show, selling them at $1 or $2, people don't feel like they're getting a value because you're selling them at pretty much what they're worth. I would have to make big lots and try and sell them. So if I had the right supply of stuff for Whatnot and was like trying to actually gear my business toward buying stuff for Whatnot, I do think it could absolutely work. But I'm not set up for it and thrifting for it at the moment.
So it's the actual quantity and source that is the most concerning part for that, sounds like.
Right.
If I can interest you in some stuffed animals.
I was going to say the Barbie category, because there's a whole doll category, right? So like people are after Barbies. I've sold boxed Barbies, loose Barbies. I currently have a doll that's supposedly worth a lot of money, but I'm scared to sell it because I don't know for sure. So I watch a lot of your content because of your Barbie stuff, and I really enjoy that. But I think that you could have something really good if you jump into the Barbie, even with like accessories, shoes, clothes, kind of stuff too. I have so
Yeah, I
much.
actually have been hoarding a big bunch of doll clothes. So I want to try and do a specific doll clothes show and see if I have some better luck with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Ellie would know if you're not familiar with Tennessee Treasures on Whatnot. She's and Ashley too. They both sell a lot of dolls and a lot of things of that. We all sell toys on that platform. We're mostly static listers, so mostly eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, Etsy, but we do whatnot as well, and it can move the needle financially for a lot of people, and we've talked about that before. So for sure, I think there is room there for more people. I think that platform is gonna. I think live selling is the future of reselling. Personally, I've said that before on this podcast. I think why that is maybe the social aspect of kind of like a QVC type of thing, where you have that interaction, or the interaction with the host or whatever. They become a personal friend to you. Do you find that in your content that you make, that people reach out to you in that regard? Because it kind of feels the same a little bit, because you're very poised, very elegant when in your content. Like it's hard to put a finger on exactly what it is about your content. It's so relaxing and so enjoyable and so engaging. Do you find that you had that connection with your following?
I do think so. I would say I get mostly positive comments. I do get a few like jerks here and there, but I think that's everybody. When, like I said, I think my following is just really great in general. And I know there are some people who also do social media, but they're like, I'm way behind on my DMs, and they don't like respond to people because they're so busy doing whatever. I've had people message me like simple eBay questions and are just like completely surprised I responded to them. And I'm like, or they said they asked somebody else and they just left them on red or ignored them or something. And I'm like, if somebody's going to take the time to like reach out to me and be nice to me and try and engage with me and isn't being a jerk, like, of course I'm going to take a little time out of my day to like respond to them. And like, I'm never going to be too big to be nice to somebody, you know?
I love that.
That's very refreshing, because a lot of times with the folks that make the transition from reselling to YouTube, oftentimes get a big head. I won't call out names, but I think we all can probably pick a few that are like that, and it's unfortunate that that happens, because at the end of the day, it's important to remember, one, where you came from, and two, like, just basic human nature, just to be kind, and remember to do that. I do have something that I learned from you, Heather, that you may not know. You ready for this? I got a surprise for you.
Sure.
I got to reach into my bag of tricks.
Magic hat.
I always have some sort of like something up my sleeve for my guests. This right here.
What is some-
I swear I saw you in a video saying that this VTech was a bolo. And
Wasn't
I don't know if it was you or not. I'm pretty sure it was.
It was probably
a very
Stephanie.
old video.
It was probably Stephanie, because
Was it Stephanie?
I feel like I've seen her say that.
Okay.
It might
I
have
thought
been.
it might have been you. But anyways, $80. $80 for that. So
Wow.
That's crazy. I would have never picked that up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I thought it was you. I went back through the treasure trove of like all your videos, and I was just like, how is this young lady so like informed? The research, the actual brain power that it takes to remember all this stuff. Like, it's amazing how you can just distill all that noise into actual knowledge that is consumable in the way that you do. How do you do that?
Genuinely,
Wanna know.
I don't know, because if you gave me 6 numbers, like a random string of 6 numbers, and you told me I had to repeat it back to you in 10 minutes, I would not be able to do it. It would just fall out of my brain. But for some reason, like the reselling stuff and the bolos and the I've seen that before, like that sticks in there for some reason. So it's like whatever my brain's set up to do, it's like almost only set up to do reselling and like nothing else.
Wow.
It's like a superpower almost.
Yeah.
That's
We all
amazing.
have. I think we all have a.
It is weird
superpower.
because
Yeah.
because there's times where I'm thrifting and something, I'll look at something and it like pings in my brain and I'm like, that's worth money, but I don't remember how I know that that's worth money. It just like wormed its way in there without me even knowing.
Mhm.
I love that.
I love
That's
it.
part of the game, right?
Maybe
Gotta
what it is I said this a few times on the podcast. I wonder, like, our brains are very good filters. It's
Mhm.
kind of like when you buy a yellow car, all of a sudden you start seeing yellow cars everywhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So I think maybe perhaps it's just educate, and then execute. So when you put yourself in front of it, all of a sudden we'll call it the spider senses, start tingling, right?
Mhm.
And next thing you know, you're off and running. So I wonder if that's a little bit of it. Plus, you're just really great
For
at
sure.
like the content part. That's the part that's always like, I'm just
Yeah,
like,
you're like flawless at your content.
like when
You're so good.
I had this whole thing planned out where I was going to introduce you as poised, perfect, perfection, or whatever, some sort of like witty. I always do this like intro where I didn't want to like be too flowery with you. I just wanted to be have an honest fireside chat with you regarding so. But you really are. You are poised perfection on camera, and then it just is pleasantly surprising. So, and I can't
Let's
say
talk
enough
a little
about
bit more about that. I know there's a question here, and we'll bring that up. I see it, but at what point did you start doing content along with reselling?
So if we're talking specifically about when I started, like the first thing was my Instagram account, and that was the end of 2019, and that was just strictly photos for a while because I don't even think they had reels back then. And when that started doing a little well, like maybe I had a few hundred followers, I was like, maybe I will do a YouTube so I can make videos, like I said, because I don't think reels existed back then. And so I wanted to go into longer form content to make like a doll video where I talk about just dolls, or I take the camera along with me on a thrifting trip and show people what I'm picking up and why. So I transitioned into that after Instagram. And then I started TikTok, I think in 2020, but I didn't start taking it seriously until like 2024.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Love it.
TikTok's an interesting one. Our podcast actually trends really well there, which was surprising to me. I thought it would be more of the short form stuff, like their 3-second reels, the really high impact ones that would do better there. But this podcast tends to do well over there, so which was a shocker. We're all trying to get our social media presence up. We're definitely behind the 8 Ball being a new podcast. So any encouraging words for us that are starting late to the game? What would be your best advice for someone? If you had to start today, what would you do different, or what would you recommend us do?
It's so hard because I've thought about that. I'm like, what would I have to do if I had to start over? Because I'm trying to grow other pages from zero now, like my thrift shop cat stuff. I don't even have 1,000 followers on that page. It's genuinely hard, no matter how good of content you're putting out, to grow now, simply because it's like over the past couple years, it feels like everybody has wanted to put something out there, be it like reselling or a podcast. And that's good because I like people sharing their specific knowledge and situations, but it just means the competition is that much higher for eyeballs, you know? So I guess I would say don't get discouraged because it's not always you. Sometimes it's just the platform or the competition and stuff, because my content does not do well on Facebook. But it does do well on other
Surprising.
platforms. So sometimes if one platform's not working, try a different one. It might fit better there.
I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
not just for our category either. That's for all categories. Media content
Mhm.
across all social media in general is becoming part of any restaurant businesses, landscaping. Everybody's putting content out there. So
So what I noticed about Facebook is kind of interesting. If you didn't know, Heather, I'm an actual software engineer, data scientist. So I do a lot of data analytics stuff. What I noticed about Facebook is I do a lot of reels and things of that nature, but the reels actually don't do as well on Facebook. They're actually more so about the photo. So if I have a photo post, and I do a lot of like, you see all this massive, I have an entire room full of plush that you could just jump in and not get hurt. That's I took a photograph of that and ended up with 50,000 views on it on Facebook.
Yeah.
So that's just one example of how a photograph on Facebook could trend and do well, but a video of the same thing would not do well on that platform. I find that very interesting. So I see what you're saying. Like some platforms are just seem like they're geared towards a certain audience and a certain type of person consuming it. So I don't know if that's just intentional, if that's how the Facebook algorithm works, or if there's more to it than that.
I think on Facebook, groups are really big too. Like that's a big tool for growth, because if you want to hone in a specific audience, there's already a group for that. So
Yeah, and there's plenty of cat lovers out there. So I would imagine. What was the name of your cat group again, Heather?
Thrift Shop Cats. I do it on TikTok and Instagram. I've been trying. I think I'm going to set up a Facebook page for it and just cross post all the stuff I've already got from the other platforms on there and see how it does. Because I do think it could do well on Facebook, even if it's not doing well on the other platforms.
I think it really could.
Yeah, I think it should. Yeah.
Yeah, because people love cats. Anything cats. We sell a ton of cats.
figurines, plush, all kind of
You
stuff.
name it.
YouTube was built on cat lovers.
Yeah, exactly. Extra hero in the comments says YouTube was built on cat lovers. So we'll go ahead and highlight that because that's an awesome comment. Extra hero. Yeah, we agree that YouTube was that's one of the first videos, wasn't it? Of two cats like playing with a ball of yarn, I think.
Yeah, we're talking old school YouTube, right? Yeah.
Well, I'm old, so there you go.
You're not that old. I remember that.
I remember before YouTube and the internet.
Oh my God.
I was born in the 1900s. But I was.
Should we highlight this question from Florida Native real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let me make sure I got the right one. Okay, Florida Native has a question, I think, on eBay. Are you charging for shipping on eBay, and what is your return policy?
Okay, so I'm kind of known for my free shipping. A lot of people give me flack for the free shipping, but in my defense, I try and source mostly smalls and very predictable shipping type items. And almost all of my shipping is $10 or less. Like I've done statistics on my year end roundup kind of videos where I can specifically point to like this percent of items shipped for $10 or less. So for me, it's really easy to put that math into the buy price of the item. And so it's free shipping, but somebody's paying for it. It just doesn't look like it.
Yeah, shipping is built in
and,
for sure.
With return policy, I've always had mine just kind of turned off because like I know that there's final value fee type stuff if you do returns and the whatever it is with however many days returns, but like I just have it turned off for my own peace of mind because I get so frustrated with people and their return reasons that I have no returns on. But that obviously that does mean I don't accept returns. If somebody asks for one, I'll usually grant one, and of course people will open an item not described whether you have returns or not, whether it's actually not as described or if they're just trying to get a free return. It is what it is.
Yeah, we all know there's no such thing as no returns, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
There is something to be said about free returns on eBay because the buyer has to, you can set it where the buyer has to pay the return shipping, but if you have no return set, you have to pay it both ways. So, I mean, there is a benefit, I suppose, to maybe having, a 30-day return policy, and that actual cost to the buyer to return it might be the deterrent for them to stop scamming you if they are a scammer. Maybe it's an actual return and there's value and there's legitimacy to that, but for the most part, I've noticed that a lot of times it's so free. They're looking for a free ride. Unfortunately, there's a few out there that are left, but the few, the good outweighs the many on eBay, I think, or the other way around. So
I will say in the toy category, I don't see a lot of returns.
Usually it's for us, it's electronics. Do you sell electronics, Heather? At all?
I do. And my husband's eBay store, he does have returns on. And I will say that he tends to get returns most on electronics and stuff. And it's almost always people who used it and then wanted to return it. So I do feel like I have a point where if you have returns on, people are more likely to seek you out for something that they just want to temporarily use or do switcheroos. He gets a lot of those people who will do a switcheroo with one that's like clearly completely used up for the new one that he sold.
Yeah. It's almost like a rental service where they're renting your product for a week or whatever and then returning it. It's a tough one. And it's so hard because electronics, a lot of it is obviously they don't make it anymore. So a lot of the vintage stuff, like an old CRT or old gaming system or something like that, and it's really too bad. Even taking pictures of the serial numbers and putting some sort of black light like pen on it doesn't really help with eBay customer service.
Yeah.
Um, there's recently something that came out about eBay laying off 800 employees. I
Wow.
don't know if you guys saw that or not.
I did not.
Yeah, I was watching the Buy It All podcast. Jimmy Old School Flips was on the podcast recently. I've been watching their stuff. They mentioned it this morning. The video dropped, and I wasn't tracking that. So that's interesting that they just bought Depop, right?
Yeah.
So they just bought Depop, and now they're laying off 800 eBay folks to pay for it. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That is unheard
When
of.
you put it into perspective like that,
I mean, what else would the reason
Yeah.
be other than, I mean, I don't know how sales have been for you guys. We stopped promoting at Dynamic and went to just regular 5% across the board. We saw our sales volume go down, but our profitability stay the same. So do you promote, Heather, on eBay?
I actually also just talked about this today because somebody asked me in my Instagram stories whether I promote. And it used to be like I would promote a blanket every single thing I listed at 2%, like the lowest. And now, and when I did that, I would typically sell about 50% of my items would sell with the promoted listing, whether I had it on or not. But now it's like 95% of the items selling are coming with that promoted listing attached to it. So because
The halo.
it's definitely gone up since they've done the change, I have decided that the stuff that I'm listing going forward, I'm going to actually think about every item individually as to whether or not I want to promote it instead of just being like, yes, across the board.
Yeah.
That's actually smart because even with traditional advertising, like if you were to consider it a billboard, do you need to put a billboard on every corner type of approach? I like that approach that you're thinking about. And I don't think you do need to put a billboard on every, like oversaturated markets for us for toys, maybe, because how else you're going to, 50% off here type of thing. But for you, where you're very specific in category and like a certain like Estee Lauder lipstick or something, just saw one of your recent videos, like $100 for that thing.
Dang.
That is crazy.
Right. And there's one specific person looking for that. So you don't really need to promote it because you're not looking
Correct.
for a wide range of people. You're looking for that one person who's already looking for you.
Right. So I want to encourage people that are listening to us that if you do have that rare item, well, there's two different ways you can go about it. Certainly don't need to promote, like Heather just mentioned, but you might want to consider auctions too. Heather, do you do auctions at all on eBay, or is it just
Not
buy it
really
now?
anymore. I might do like one auction a year if it's some weird item that I think a lot of people might fight over, but for the most part, not really.
Yeah, it seems like that's one of those dying arts. A lot of people are not taking, they're just going right for they look at their average, like Terapeak. I guess it was used to be called, now it's research under eBay. Advanced settings, you can go in there and look at the 90 days sold through. And kind of determine like what the best number is for asking and go that route. So, but yeah, I could see the value in maybe something like a vintage action figure that maybe there's not a lot of, possibly go on auction.
Depending on what you have.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, let's scratch the cat. Put that. So I have a little bit of a long question, I guess, because you mentioned that you started selling like right out of college, and I know you have kids. And so I guess my question ties into my lifestyle because reselling allows me to stay home with my kids. So is this full time for you? Are you stay home mom? How does that affect like do you go to work? Do you have other work, or does that allow you to also stay home with kids and that kind of thing?
So I have been full time since I started my Instagram account, which was 2019. Previous to that, I was reselling part time, I was doing an Etsy store a lot, and I was also doing like miscellaneous things like paid surveys and whatnot, just trying to like cobble together some source of income because
Right.
I left or I got fired from my full-time job after I had my son, my first son. So after that, I knew I wanted to have another son or another kid rather. And so I was like, I'm not going to go back to work until I'm done having kids because it's just too hard to have a job outside the home as a mom with like multiple kids if you don't have free childcare built in. Like a lot of the people I know who are thriving outside of the home working, it's because like their mother-in-law watches their kids for free or something, and I didn't have that. So I when I decided that reselling was going well and I wasn't going to look for outside employment, then I was fine with that decision because I was making enough money at home and also being home with my kids that it just all made sense.
Yes.
Mhm.
I agree with all of that. And that was, I guess, you answered it perfectly. I have 4, so there's no way that going back to work is an option. And I was working and struggling to find daycare, let alone deciding whether it was even worth it to pay for daycare with whatever I was getting paid, so.
The price of daycare is absolutely ridiculous in this country, but it is our most prized possession. So they take what we value the most and take care of it to an extent that we hope that they would treat them as we would treat our own children. So there is that as well baked into that equation, but it is still comes at a lofty price tag, and it really is too bad.
Mhm.
The freedom that you're getting from reselling, would you mind talking about that a little bit, Heather, a little bit more than just the stay-at-home mom part of it? Because I think that's an important part for those that might not be reselling yet, that are thinking about it. Would you mind just really quickly?
Yeah. Like I said, I graduated college and I was like, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get a full-time job. If I do eBay, it's just going to be for fun money on the side. Like that was supposed to be my trajectory. And then number one, that first job that I got out of college was not a great fit for me, but I stayed because the pay was well. And it took me 6 months just to find that job out of college in the first place. So even though I wasn't happy, I just kind of stayed. And then everything changed when I got pregnant with my first son. It's like, it was a small business. I was in marketing. I was the director of marketing at this small business. And it was like, as soon as my boss knew that I was pregnant, he started making like plans to get rid of me without telling me that he was making plans to get rid of me. And I had no FMLA protections because it was a small business. So because of how I was treated throughout my pregnancy and after I had my son with that job, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. Like I said, I was like, if I'm going to go back to work full time outside the home, it's going to be when I'm done having kids because I can't be treated this way again. And luckily things went so well that I never had to seek that employment again. But being able to work for myself has been a blessing too, because I never have to worry, number one, about how a boss is going to treat me or treat me with kids or give me time off for kids. And I also make more money now working for myself. So it's like nothing could have been better than what has happened to me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Was it always as successful in the beginning, or were there times like where you were having growing pains? Because I feel like that's where I'm at now.
Okay. Yeah. So with like I said, because of when I got started, it's like there was a little boost in the reselling space during that time period with everybody buying online. So for me, I kind of lucked out with that. And that gave me enough like capital under my belt that everything else has been pretty smooth sailing until all that stuff happened with Amazon and made it a lot harder to make money there. But like I'm at a point now where everything is good. But
That's
making the transition from part-time to full-time, I think is going to be the hardest for most people. The one thing that really challenged me when I went from part-time to full-time is when you're doing part-time, I don't know about anybody else, but I was like cherry picking. Like I only want to pick up the items that I'm going to make $30, $40, $50 more on. When I went full-time, I started maximizing, like, I don't care if I'm making $10 off this product. I don't care if I'm making $5. I want the volume. I want to make every dollar count. And getting used to that was kind of challenging for me. And once you start adding this stuff up and you realize that it's like, it's adding up, then it's like, okay, this actually makes sense and I can make it work. Because you can find a lot more like small flips like that, then you can really nice cherry pick items, especially now that there's more people reselling.
Yeah, I've said that before a million times that where the McDonald's, or not the McDonald's, but the Dollar General of reselling, I buy subterranean and sell low. That's just our flip. The bread and butter items, like you said, are added up. So the $8 to $20 profit items that normal people would just pass over because it's not good enough. While they're looking for that grail, I've already sold through $1,000 worth of small items. So they're looking for that one item that's worth $1,000. I've already, and they're like, how are you so lucky? It's not about luck. It's about process and procedure and all the other stuff, and just kind of systems and doing all the things right in the moment, and all the small death by 1,000 cuts type of approach. That's how we move the needle for our family. And it sounds like you were doing the same when you made that decision to cut over.
Okay.
Yes, because I don't think I ever would have been like, I would have been like $10. I only made $10. Like old part-time me would have said that, but now I'm like, ooh, I made $10 on that. You do it enough times, it adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what I sell in booths too. And what's crazy is when you start looking at what's sold, it's all the small little items, but it adds up over time because they're like, oh, it's only this much, but it adds up over time too. So absolutely.
There's a reason why dollar stores in general do well for those very reasons. So why not take practices and business practices that are already set in place and just take their idea and just run with it? Yeah. So
I was just about to ask that question. Let me pin it here.
Oh, there it is.
Florida Native 59 said, would you consider yourself an everything seller?
Yeah, pretty much everything except clothing. I have started to dabble in clothing. I've been going to the bins a lot. Oh my goodness, my cat is now being loud.
My dog's coming, so.
He's an Oriental short hair, so they're very noisy, very screamy cats, and I don't know what he's yowling at me for. I don't think it's close to dinner time. It might be. But what were we saying?
Everything seller. No clothes.
Everything seller, yes. I just started going to the bins and picking up clothing for the fun of it. But yeah, for the most part, it's like everything but clothing and shoes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always been enamored with the clothing because it could be very lucrative, but the actual process to process it is what I struggle with. The actual work involved. So anybody that actually has that workflow and is doing clothing, they deserve every penny that they're getting from that. Because first of all, I'm not a fashionista, so there's that. So,
I'm the last person trying to convince my 14-year-old daughter. She is most definitely a fashionista. She knows all the brands and the hot styles and all of that. I'm like, girl, you could be making money, but she's 14, she's a kid, and she's still.
Yeah, it's not even so much about brand anymore, because even if it's not the greatest brand, as long as the style's right, I think you could do well in clothing too. So having that eye for that is something that just either comes naturally to you, or I don't even know what that is really.
That and just learning the keywords,
Well, yeah, what's hot and trendy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, distressed or whatever the hell I'm sure there's terminology for it. Grunge. I'm going back to my 90s roots.
I was about to say 90s for sure.
90s for sure. Yeah.
Thrashed. Have you guys heard of Thrashed?
Thrashed.
Right? Like we're looking for Thrashed Carhartt type stuff. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. For some reason, Carhartt is gone to, I don't know, to not the working blue collar type anymore. It's trended to the younger generations. So, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wanted to ask what your work-life balance, how does that work for you? I mean, I know everybody is different, but with kids and everything else plus reselling, what's that look like for you?
I wish I could say I had a great work-life balance, but my problem is that I kind of like working too much. And so I don't really have
Guilty.
a set time where I'm like, I'm working from 9 to 5, and then after 5, I'm not checking my eBay messages and I'm not gonna list anything. But that's simply not true. My day is so very combined with what I'm doing. Like I might list for an hour and then I might scroll TikTok for an hour or make a YouTube video or something. And then I'll get back and I'll like clean some items I got from the thrift. Like I bounce around to different things throughout the day. So it's not like 8 hours on, here's 8 hours off. It's just whatever I feel like doing in that moment. So, some people don't like that because then it's like you have a bad work-life balance, but I feel like I'm getting everything done that I need to get done. So something is balanced.
Yeah. Okay. I was just because I think we're all in that. We're trying to figure out that work-life balance, and sometimes it's 24/7, but it's not constant 24/7. But you're constantly
Yeah.
doing something related to it.
Yeah, there's also the responsibilities of adulthood that we all have to put up with, where you have the flexibility to do those things too. Like if your child has a play that you want to go to, or you can just, put your business on pause for a second and go do that and just work those hours later. So that's what's I think is most attractive for reselling for me, and why I struggle with my 9 to 5 currently, because I'm building someone else's dream. I'm no longer building my own. And that's something that Wade Ventures was on our podcast not too long ago mentioned. And ever since he said those words, it's been gnawing at me. So, yeah, I'm just like, I can probably still consult and do those things and still build a reselling business on the side. But why not the other way around? Build the empire or reselling, whatever you want to call it, and then do the consulting on the side. So just switch it. For me,
I always find it interesting, Bob, with you because, like, you're the family income, right? I'm the one at home trying to help that family income, so like that's a whole different thought process on the other end.
yeah, it's a different dynamic. I wasn't always the breadwinner. I will say for the record, my wife almost makes in reselling as much as I make as a software engineer.
She's
For
killing it.
those that don't know that, so you can do very well in this if you really. She is a workaholic too, though, much like the rest of us, where we cannot put it down. I think that comes from a place of passion, quite honestly. When you're passionate about something, those 80 hours don't feel like 80 hours. We've said it a million times in these podcasts, and that's just the truth of it. When you're building something for yourself, what does that look like? So
Well, when you're at the bins for X amount of hours,
8 hours and you
that
haven't
doesn't
even
feel like
drank a
work.
glass of water.
I know.
Heather, do you mind sharing location where you are in the world for people that don't know?
Yeah, I'm in northeastern Ohio. I'm like outside of Akron.
So
Okay.
not a bad area to be a picker. From what I understand, Ohio's really good for that.
So what's your favorite place to source? Like garage sales, estate sales, bins? What does that look like? What's your favorite?
Right now, I'm mostly doing thrifts. Every year I say this is going to be the year that I go heavy into garage sales, and then I just don't. I feel like the garage sales, like I want to like them more than I actually do, because I don't find stuff at my garage sales that well. I'll go to a garage sale, and more often than not, I leave with nothing because it's like 2 tables of glassware and
Close.
Christmas decorations.
Yeah.
Like maybe the garage sales in my area just suck. I don't know. But yeah, for me, it's mostly thrift right now.
Okay.
I see your videos coming from the bins, so I'm assuming you have a Goodwill Outlet bins in your area. I know
We
that
actually
you
have
had two? Nice, even better. You had a video that was pretty funny that I thought I almost died at the bins or something. I found.
Oh yeah.
I found that very humorous.
Yeah, because I get so overheated and overwhelmed at the bins. I can only be there for like 30, 40 minutes before I'm like, I'm done. I have to leave and take a break. But I turn the bins pretty quickly. So I get through all of mine because it's not very big in like 40 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'm good for the week. I don't need to come back.
Yeah.
Stimulation overload. Nashville, if you're not familiar, where we're out of, well, Ellie's out of Tennessee. We live in North Alabama, so we tend to travel that way. Out of convenience and also volume. Nashville is, I'm not sure would make it 20 minutes in there.
It's rough.
It's it's crazy.
It's rough.
It's absolute insanity. And it gets rough in there too. People throw elbows, and there's been fights and all kinds of stuff at our bins. It is quite wild. So it's definitely interesting. There's a lot of videos that we have on my channel at the bin. So if you guys are watching this and you like that kind of content, be sure to check that out. So
I haven't had issues at the bins in a while, but I really highly considered starting a Bins Chronicles series
you should
because of
totally
every
do
time
it.
I had an issue. Like one time, this lady kicked me. It wasn't hard, but she was so angry that I kind of reached in the corner of the bin she was digging in. And she's like, "I'm going through this bin," and she was just like this, right, like hogging the whole. I'm like, "Man, that's not how it works. You don't get to just dig in this bin all by yourself." And she was very upset with me. She turned around and she just like, she went like this. She kicked me, and I was like, "Jesus,
That's
help me!"
terrible.
Right? I'm trying to be.
Heather, have you ever had that experience where you were like accosted at the bins or something happened or
No,
someone got
actually, I know what kind of videos you're talking about. I've seen bins videos where everybody's just like a swarm and crazy. My bins are either not like that by default or by design, because they play an announcement at my bins that you have to walk, you can't touch each other, and you will be thrown out if somebody's complaining about you. So I don't know if that has done much to like condition people into being more respectful at my bins, but my bins just also seem to be less crowded, so that could also be it.
Are children allowed at your bins?
Yes.
They are. Okay.
Yeah, no, there's some that they're not.
There are a few
Not sure what I would do.
around that. I was just curious about that. Would maybe kind of move the needle a little bit.
Do you take
But-
your kids to the bins, or am I the only crazy one?
I do. They are like off of school that week and they want to go. They will come to the
Yeah.
bins sometimes, but for the most part, I don't necessarily trust the bins enough for them to be digging around in there that often. But like, I won't say no if they want to. They're old enough now where it's like they can pick through the bins if they want to.
Okay. Yeah, that's my boys too. They're 8 and 9, and they love finding action figures. So they come to find action figures and dinosaurs.
There's plenty of those at the bins.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't
So,
always get lucky, but they enjoy the hunt. So I'm hoping to instill
Yeah.
business in them. We'll
We
see.
need to put Heather in contact with Old School Flips, Jimmy. They're both out of Ohio now.
Oh,
And
okay.
I bet Jimmy could probably turn you on to the yard sale and fleet or the yard sale scene. He's garage sale scene. He is like he can't trip and not hit a vintage something, action figure or transformer or some sort of like retro toy from our childhood. It's crazy. So that stuff is out there in Ohio, but I'm not sure what. Ohio's a big state. I'm sure that's probably not close to you, maybe. But yeah.
So I think my biggest advice for the garage sales, because I run into the same things that you guys say, but I really love garage sales. I find we find a lot of toys, dolls, Shopkins, the mini toys, plush, all that kind of stuff. However, I have come across many community sales that seem to be the older generation community sales that don't typically have toys and stuff that I look for. However, I did get lucky once, and I picked up a huge lot of LPS from somebody who was hoarding their kids' toys. But I guess the tip is just to look for those really big community sales. I always get lucky at those.
I would say church sales too. I'd say the church community sales. Church sales, I think everybody, those are like gold half the time when they do happen. But yeah, same thing. You just got to look at what neighborhoods and that sort of thing of where you're at. Because here we do a lot of drive by. Oh, close. Yep, keep going. I mean, you just got to pick and choose, and then sometimes, but it's just whatever works.
I just
Sometimes
look
it'll
for
be
the
good. Sometimes
most
it's not.
colorful garage sale. You know there's going to be toys there.
True.
Yeah.
My question is, what kind of items do you love finding? What's your favorite thing to
Ooh, good
hunt,
question.
source for, to sell?
I absolutely love selling dolls. If I had to pick one favorite toy, it would be dolls. Specifically modern Barbies. I know a lot of people are like specifically into the vintage Barbies, like the 60s, 70s dolls. I like the modern ones that people don't necessarily know are valuable. So I tend to find them a lot more often. I love toys. I love vintage electronics. Like I was really into obsolete electronics for a while, Betamax, laser discs. I do cassette players, record players if I find them. And what else do I really love? Beauty products, obviously. Perfumes used to be a lot more fun when eBay would let you sell used ones, but if I can find a brand new one in the box, that makes me really excited.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say, I forgot your other new fave, the fiber optics. I was loving that. I was like, yes, the fiber optics.
That was
Yeah,
a
that's my
blast
new
for
favorite
device.
thing is fiber optics.
Okay, what are fiber optics?
So
They're like the vintage, they're usually vintage, but not always. But it's like the little light strings where it's like little points of light. I had fiber
I saw
optics flowers that were everywhere in the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
the Avon fiber optic Christmas decorations I find a lot of.
oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I did see that video. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Didn't know. It
And
sounds fancy.
my grandparents had a lot of that stuff when we were growing up, and also those lamps. You guys remember those lamps with the oil that used to go down the metal?
Yeah.
What in the 80s,
Mhm.
people were crazy.
Yeah.
I can think about that
Mine
now.
is-
Like, why would you want that in your house? But I don't know.
Yeah, my grandpa made glass, and there was tons of. I think we had one at my grandma's house with that, but glass, tons of glass lamps with the oil. But yeah,
Yeah. That's insane. So Heather, this is usually the time of the show where we ask our reseller friends. You were the kindest person to respond to Stephanie when she did it, and you understood the assignment. You did it. You responded back, and you did all the
Nailed.
things. Now it's your turn. Your turn. Cosmic Deal Heather. Who would you like to see on Launchpad Reseller Podcast? Go.
Gosh, that's so tough to choose just one person. I'm trying to think of who would bring value to you that would bring a unique perspective. And I think nobody has a more unique perspective than Jen, Thrift to Travel, because she's the only person I've ever seen that literally travels out of the country to source things to sell on eBay. And it's just, it's so unique to watch what she does. And I think people would enjoy to hear about that.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Well, there you have it. We'll see if we can get her on, and we would definitely appreciate that perspective. That's a very unique one, and very good choice for sure. So, my wife, I'm going to switch gears for a second. My wife has been wanting to know something. She saw one of your videos where you were flat ironing a doll's hair. She wants to know what temperature the flat iron should be on.
It's going to depend on the specific doll hair because doll hairs are rooted with different materials. So you always want to test like an inconspicuous area no matter what it's set at. But my flat iron can go down to like 170. So I would start really low like that and test it because that's usually enough heat just to get it to lay straight again and not melt it. 170 Fahrenheit.
So for those that don't know that video, you really should go through Heather's archive and find that video because absolute tangled mess, a weave of despair and hate, just straighter than the arrow. It was so like cathartic watching that video. I was just like, wow, just to do that process must have been just like, this is so relaxing. This seems, but again, maybe not. Maybe it was torture for you.
So I haven't seen that video. Yeah,
No,
that's
I
the
love that.
question. You
The
do,
tangle?
okay.
Okay.
You enjoyed brushing these dolls out and doing this. I dread
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. I like really weird, tedious tasks. Like I like fixing and straightening the doll hair. I liked removing, like my husband had a Carhartt jacket that he wanted the embroidery removed off of, like the customization. I love sitting there and getting all the little threads and stuff. Like little easy, tedious tasks like that are just things that I enjoy.
They can become soothing. I could see that.
Mhm.
I really dread doll hair though.
Yeah, I can definitely see
I
the
love it.
appeal. Like the world falls away from you for a second. I've had those like tedious tasks where like the world falls away for a second, and you're just like almost in a zone where you're just kind of like everything is just noise at that point, and you're just kind of focused in and locked in. So definitely can appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, there's a question. I don't know if it's a question as so much as a statement. Extra Hero is apparently a fan, Heather. And not only are you good at fixing the dolls, but photographing them in dynamic poses. So
That's awesome.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Now I do.
Does it help them
I'm a
sell?
very big yes, that's a very big proponent. Like what I'm trying to say is people will photograph a doll and it's just like laying there, not looking at the camera or anything. You can photograph it like that, or you can photograph it where the eyes are looking at the camera. She's like posed and looking cool. People will always choose that cool dynamic pose doll over one that's laying there not giving anything, you know? So I'm always telling people you got to pose your dolls if you're going to sell them.
And there you go. And now you know.
Noted. Noted.
So I know that these guys sell a ton of dolls, specifically on Whatnot, but other places too. But yeah, that's good. That's a good tip. That makes sense though.
Yeah, it does.
Because it's just like anything, really. It's the photo that's going to sell it at the end of the day, and maybe the description because of SEO. But and for those that don't know what that means, is search engine optimization that eBay uses for best match. So those two things I think are the most important thing. Do you go as far as going into the description when you list, or do you just rely solely on photograph and title, or do you really get deep into the?
I always give a description, even if it's just a few sentences. It's usually like, here's XYZ item. If it's a doll or something, it's like, okay, maybe this knee is a little loose, or I tell them something that might be wrong with the item if there's something specifically wrong. It's usually like 2 or 3 sentences. And the main reason is, even though people typically aren't reading it, that description will save you if they leave a negative feedback that's disputed by the description. So it's your own insurance policy more than anything.
Absolutely.
That's a good point. It's almost like you're paying for extra insurance by taking the extra minute to write it. That's a very intuitive and very thoughtful thing to think about. So that's really great advice, and definitely noted for sure. I'll be better about that because right now I'm letting AI do it, and then if there's something specifically wrong with the item, I'll just quick blurb about it. So yeah. Do you use ChatGPT AI for any of your workflow?
So not really when it comes to reselling or eBay or stuff. I've used it when it comes to like analyzing data that I was getting from TikTok for something. Like I had these big comment sections where I was like, I'm going to take the comments and analyze them for something and then give people feedback on that. Like I did a few specific videos where I had to analyze comments. So it's good for data analysis, but I really like, I know I might catch some flack for this because I know resellers love their AI generated images, but why does everything need to be an AI generated picture? Why does everything need to be a very clearly AI generated description? Like I personally can't stand that because it doesn't feel personalized to me. It feels like I can tell that's AI. So I don't like it for things that are supposed to be coming from your voice, but for a data analysis, it's good for that.
Okay.
You have a soul sister in my wife. You didn't know. She is absolutely of the same feeling as you. She's actually cackling from the other room. I don't know if you can hear her, but she is totally your person. She feels the same way about that, and she's actually in chat under Rocket City Reseller. She's saying thank you for saying that because it needed to be heard.
It's just annoying. Like if you're on Whatnot, everybody's got an AI generated photo for something, and it's like, does the lost art of Photoshop? You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm with you. I love Canva, and I normally start in Canva, and I've been recently like doing a mesh between Canva and also ChatGPT. It's hard for me because of time is my biggest nemesis and my most finite resource. So that's why I'm using it more. I kind of understand where you guys are coming from, but I'm also a software engineer and deal with large language models all day. So I kind of understand them a little bit better. So my prompting is not as terrible. I don't know if that transcends into my imagery for ChatGPT or not, because it is limited to what it can do. I think you're going to see that where you're not even going to be able to tell between reality and what's not real soon. I think it's coming soon. Right now, you can definitely tell, and it's horrible. And you're right. I think for the most part, you're definitely right. So, but yeah, that's my take on ChatGPT. I think it could be good for workflows and data analytics. You're absolutely right. It wins all day for that. So
For sure.
The insight that you're gaining from that for your business, is it helping you move the needle for you, you think, regarding sell through and other like
Um,
business parts of what you're doing?
like I said, I don't really use it for stuff related to my business. It's more for creative type of things, like bouncing ideas
Okay.
off of another entity. Um, but I know that people are using it for their business and are finding like use for it, and it's giving them insight that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So while it might not be something that I use for that purpose, I can understand and appreciate that it does have use for other people to help them with their businesses.
That's definitely okay. I think in general, I would say that's probably the best answer, to leave it to the people to decide. So if you want to drop it in the comments, if you're watching this past the live, and you want to let us know what you think about ChatGPT, make sure you put it in the comments. Also, something that you might not have known, Heather, we're actually broadcasting to Spotify. So if you are a Cosmic Deal Heather fan and you want to hear her again on repeat, be sure to check us out on Spotify. And for those that can't be here and visualize YouTube, we also broadcast on YouTube regarding the audio only. So just know that those are two avenues that you can listen to the podcast. So I just wanted to kind of make sure that we got that out there, because we haven't been traditionally good at letting people know that we're on Spotify. So we want to make sure that we let our viewers know. As soon as people find out, they're all about it, because a lot of times with reselling, there's not a lot of time for visual, but you can actually listen audio. So that brings me to my next question for you, Heather. When you're going through your day-to-day workflow, is music a part of that, or is it just locked in, quiet time? What does that look like for you?
So I'm a huge music appreciator. I listen to music constantly, but it's specifically in the car. Like for some reason, car is where I listen to my music the most, because I love driving and I love my music, and those two things together is like a flow state for me. When I'm doing work, I'm usually listening to a YouTube video or something. Like I put on a long form video and listen to it, and that's what I do when I'm working versus listening to music.
Same.
For me, I think when I'm in the process of listing and doing those things, I need absolute silence. But when I am on Whatnot, I cannot have silence. There's just too much going on up here. I need to be able to cut it off. And the only way I can do that and give the people the attention that they need is through music. So that's why I have music on when I'm on live stream like that. So, which is part of the reason why I haven't done a lot of the tech videos that I've been promising to do on other things like Nifty and other technology, because I have a lot of insight into that stuff, and I've been promising to do those. Is when I try to lock in and do those, I need something behind the scenes of music, and YouTube obviously will give you a strike for copyright. So I'm at this point where like, what do I do with that? So I guess just lock in and get it done, but I would prefer to have music. It's too bad that YouTube's like that.
See, I have a bit of a conundrum because I can't work under complete silence. That's impossible for me. But I have 4 kids, and it's also overstimulating to try to listen to a podcast and then my kids in the background and then whatever else. So sometimes I get the noise canceling headphones and listen. Did you read Extra Hero's comment about your restraint of Nifty?
Extra Hero, I'm not sure how you know me so well, but I'm a shameless promoter of all things, and you're absolutely correct that I would do something like that. So I try not to do that kind of thing too much where I do a promotion, but we also try to make sure that we are cognizant of our sponsor, Nifty. Nifty.ai can definitely change your reselling trajectory in 2026. It's helped to triple our business. It also has brought us into the 6-figure realm of possibility through reselling. So we can't say enough about Nifty.ai for your cross-listing generative AI needs. Code Rocket City will save you 15% off your first month, and we appreciate you guys listening to my TED Talk.
And while we're at it, if you could like and subscribe if you're not already. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, for
Gotta
sure.
get better at that.
Sorry about that, Heather.
No, it's
Impromptu
fine.
commercial. Heather's like, I get it, Bob. Bills.
No, I get it.
So you did a video earlier this year about reintroducing yourself and for 2026 and the brand apocalypse and your husband unfortunately losing his job and all the things. What does the 2026, the remainder of this, look like for you into the future, do you think? What is Cosmic Wheel Heather doing?
I just want to keep my trajectory because, you know, it's really good to be like, I want to have an even better year. After the crummy end of last year with Amazon stuff, I just want to be able to maintain where I'm at and not lose momentum and just keep working toward my goal of affording a brand new house because I got the land, I paid off the land, now I have to pay for a house to go on that land. So that's step 3. And outside of reselling, we have like my husband's mother's house estate that we have to like get done. That's like a whole other issue. And we got stuff we have to do at this house before we can sell it. Like there's just so many things that have to get done. So as long as we're maintaining and not losing ground, I will be happy.
So I'm okay with that answer, and that's a really great answer, and that one that people don't often talk about. We always talk about growth on this channel, and that makes a whole lot of common sense to me. Is like sometimes being able to maintain where you currently are is almost as important as growing. So that's a really important concept to really wrap your mind around for a second, because a lot of times I am a hustle type. And I'm like all about growth, and that is super important, but it's not at the end of the day everything. Um, the purpose behind what you're doing is admirable to be able to gain, to be able, first of all, to be able to pay for property, doing reselling speaks volumes in regards to your work ethic. Let me just tell you the absolute like grind and determination and work that took to do that. Kudos to you, because that is admirable and is definitely something that when I look at my future goals, I'm going to say, wow, Heather did this and she did it, and she's a mom and she's, you know, she's a wife and she does all this other stuff too on top of that. So ring the bell, like seriously, like for all the other moms out there and all the other stay-at-home moms and all everybody else who's out there. I don't want to use the hustle word, but everybody who's out there like grinding it every day. Look at Heather and take a page from her book and just be humble in all things. Status quo is okay, but also just remember that, you know, that there's something there to be admired, and kudos to you. Can't say enough.
Definitely inspiring. Definitely
Yeah, for sure.
inspiring. As a mom who has similar goals and trying to purchase property, buy a house and all that, I have actually been really enjoying the content that you're putting out with your progress and how to get to the 50,000, I think it is, right? So that's really encouraging to watch. So if you guys are not watching that, definitely go follow along.
I think you're going to make it by the end of 2026. I'm going to call it out by faith that you're going to make the number that you need, that it's going to happen for you, that where there's a will, there's a way. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to believe that it's going to happen for you. So, and we're going to try our best, hell bent and determined, to try our best to partner with you and also promote you in any way that we can. So to send viewership your way, to send people your way, because I think that it's a super important mission that you have for your family. And we're all about community support. We call ourselves a community support or activist channel, podcast channel. We want to be an integral part of everybody's experience and journey. That's really super important for me. Why I do this. I resell for that very reason, to help my family and also help other families and give people hope. That's why I started this podcast. So, and my co-hosts have decided to join me along the way because they believe in that as well. And we believe in you, Cosmic Deal Heather. So keep your chin up, kid. It's going to get better. I know it for sure. You're so good at this. Like you are like I know you probably heard it a million times, but you are absolutely so good at this, like social media thing. So
we're definitely taking notes back here. Like
Yeah. And we're also in the background slow clapping for you. Just so you know.
I will say that adding in YouTube shorts, I tried to post more stuff to my YouTube shorts. I'm gaining subscribers like crazy through YouTube shorts, and I was just kind of casting it out before. So like, I guess don't write off YouTube shorts. That's been the biggest source of my growth in 2026.
Wow.
Yeah, people are just, the short content is what people have time for right now. And hopefully tying that short content to your long form will help you get the watch hours and other things that you need in regards to that part of it. But you're absolutely right. If you need viewership, that's a very good point. And one that's actually helped us as well. I think we have 288 subs this month on our channel, which is pretty good for a reselling niche down podcast. I mean, that's not terrible.
Very exciting for our baby channel.
Yeah, for our baby channel, we're super happy with that. So we can't say enough about shorts helping along the way. And one of the things that we do about this podcast is once we do film it, we actually chop it up and put it out in reels. So if you want to collab on that, you feel free to do that. If not, that's okay too. You know, we want to encourage you to welcome you to our side of the YouTube algorithm. I know that we probably don't fit necessarily in what you were probably being surprised from us, maybe even. So now that we all know each other, and I believe in commonality through people, it's almost like data in my mind. Like everybody has a relationship together. We all have a primary key in humanity. We're all related in that way. Now I know Stephanie. Now I know you. I know Ellie. Now I met, you know what I mean? So it just continues to grow and change and iterate. So, yeah.
One more question in the chat from Florida Native 59 was asking, where do you get your shipping supplies?
Ooh. They're not asking me, Heather.
I think she might be frozen.
No.
Oh no.
Supply Hut. No, I have no idea.
Oh, they're loading.
It's okay. While she's reloading back in, that would be a good chance to tell people where they can find you, Ellie. Where can they find you on social media and all the reselling places that you resell?
Find me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Facebook is Tennessee Toys and Treasures, so lots of fun content there. On Whatnot, Tennessee _treasures. I'm on TikTok as Tennessee Treasures, and Instagram is Tennessee Treasures. And I'm on YouTube. Yeah, you can follow me here on YouTube.
You're not following Ellie, you better. She has so much great stuff and so much great advice. And if you're a stay-at-home mom, and if you're living that life, there's one person on this channel that definitely would get it. She has like 20 kids. No, I'm just kidding.
It feels that way. It definitely feels that way.
What about you, She Shed 244? Where can the folks find you?
No. Right now, I just got on Facebook. I'm trying to get more content put out, more informational stuff. As you're seeing it on screen, if you're here, capital S, She Shed 244. Whatnot, She Shed 244. That's my main two places. I'm working on I'm working on Facebook, and then I'm going to slowly move into other platforms. But yeah,
Well,
that's where I'm going to start.
And I think Heather's back. Let me go and see if I can bring her in.
There we go.
So there you go. And obviously, you guys know me, Bob, the Rocket City Reseller. I am everywhere on Rocket City Reseller. Feel free to reach out if you need anything, or if you have ideas regarding the podcast, or you'd like to see someone on. And we would be happy to at least attempt to get the person on that you're trying to reach out to and that you would like to find out more about. So just take that into consideration when you're watching this or listening back. And we want to thank our Spotify users for listening in and joining us along the way. And I don't know if we're going to necessarily get Heather back, but that's okay.
I'm going to say Extra Hero in chats said a few years back, Heather made a video called I Found the Best Deals on Shipping Supplies, so you don't have to. And he said, they said it still holds up. So just a call out for that in case we can't get Heather back.
Thank you, Florida Native 59, for that comment. And yeah, I guess if you guys went to Heather's main YouTube channel and type that in. Likely the video would come right up for you guys. So definitely check that out. I love having resellers like this on because there's so much information out there for reselling that it's hard sometimes to distill that down and get actionable information that's actually timely and also still relevant. So the fact that that's still holding up is a testament to the content that she's putting up. So, alrighty.
I sent her a message.
Did you? Okay, cool. So we'll do something we haven't done in a while before we close things up, and we'll give her a chance to get back on to say goodbye if she can. We'll go around the horn and ask about your week in reselling. So we'll start with Ellie, Tennessee Treasures. How was your week in reselling?
It was pretty good. I haven't done any Whatnot shows this week besides the Once Upon a Plush Ray Train, which I made like 65, I think, in 30 minutes, $65 in 30 minutes from
That's pretty good.
Plush. So that was pretty good. And then I sold a clarinet. Yeah, I think it's a clarinet that we found at the bins for $120. And I sold, goodness, there was 3 sales, I think. I don't know if I remember the other ones. I sold a Haunted Mansion beignet holder or whatever.
Oh, cool.
It
You
usually
had me a beignet.
it usually comes in a set of 3. It's the 3 statue heads. I only had the
Yeah.
1 statue head. If you have all 3, they'll sell for anywhere from $80 to $100.
Oh, wow.
My one sold for 36, I think, 32 or 36.
Heck yeah.
And then there was one more I can't remember.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yay!
Yay!
Hey, Heather's back.
I don't know what happened with that because it was showing that the timer was still going and everything, but everybody else's little camera thing started swirling. So I'm like, okay, my internet must have just crapped out, which happens all the time.
Yeah, I get it. I was having similar issues.
Yeah, we were just going around the horn asking about everybody's week in reselling. That's how we used to start the podcast. So we didn't get to Ashley. Well, and then we're gonna get to you, Heather.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, Ashley. Let's go. We're all resellers here. We got about 5-10 more minutes of this podcast left. Let's
Okay.
talk about it.
I do, what is it called? It's kind of like Facebook Marketplace, but it's a set group. So I've been posting on the drop sites, as I call it. Instead of you meeting a stranger in a strange place, you just drop it at a shop, that sort of thing. Posting there, getting ready for a ton of shows this week. This month is going to be fire on Whatnot, just a ton of stuff. And that's about it. But yeah.
Awesome. Now, last but not least, Heather, how's your week in reselling been? How's eBay treating you? How's Amazon treating you? Are they treating you like a
So
stranger?
far so good. Like I've had some pretty good sales on both Amazon and eBay for the past week. And I'm just planning on going out thrifting on Wednesday like I normally do, my big Wednesday thrift, and hopefully I find a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We love that for you. And yeah, my week in reselling, I think my wife's already said it in the comments, has been absolutely fire. We have no room to complain. People that are saying eBay's slow and things are not good, I totally recommend you go back and through your listings, and that's what we did. We did an inventory recently, and it's actually just skyrocketed our sales. So do your inventory, get that stuff looked at again over another microscope, reevaluate your prices, things that might have changed since the last time you listed, and do all those things because, yeah, we sold a Jellycat and a rainbow blue screws, and that was like I want to say almost $1,000 there. So it helps to find good items too. So put yourself in front of it. You're never going to be lucky unless you put yourself consistently in front of it. So I don't believe in luck a lot of times. I believe in choice and opportunity, and I'm sure Heather agrees. And we appreciate you making the choice and taking the opportunity to be here, Heather. We want to thank you for coming on the podcast. We can't say that enough. We are big fans, and my new top 5 favorite content to watch, Cosmic Deal, Heather.
Absolutely.
Aw,
We
thank
appreciate
you.
you so much. I can't say enough about it. So anyways, we want to thank you again. And I want to remind you guys, remember, if you cannot be good at it. We'll catch you on the next one. Heather, stick around. I got one more question for you off camera.
Okay.
And happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Bye. Thank you.
No, I promise I won't. All right, bye.